2024 Tour de France, Stage 9. The jury was out at the start of the day, but the decision has been handed down. Gravel racing is great, especially when it's in the Tour de France and it's over the Champagne Hills around here in the city of Troyes. We had attacks all day from the GC guns, Tadej Pogacar, Remco Evenepoel. We had mishaps. We had Jonas Vingegaard finishing on his teammate's bike, Jan Tratnik, after a puncture or something happened out there. And we had an escape of top riders, including Canadian Derek G, hoping to make 3 years in a row, Canadian winners. Following up on Hugo Hull, Mike Woods, and this year, Derek G. It wasn't to be. Instead, we saw an attack by Jasper Stuyven from the escape group. He nearly held on for the win, but they caught him back in that final kilometer. Derek G was attacking to pull him back. They were all attacking. Then it was attack of Anthony Turgis, the Frenchman from French team, Total Energy, and he pulled it off. It stuck right behind him on his wheel whilst Tom Pidcock, Derek G, sprinting, hoping to get Anthony, but also sprinting to try to get that second place. It went to Tom Pidcock. Derek G, done and dusted, third place, but great ride to you, Derek, in your first participation, debut at the Tour de France. He was attacking from kilometer zero with American Nielsen Pallas. Pallas dropped back to help Ben Peely, who got in the move, but it was Derek G who did so well out of that escape group today, and the escape group was full of hitters, including 3 Movistar riders. Now let's focus back on the GC group because it was UAE Team Emirates with Tim Wellens, who was really setting things up today for Tadej Pogacar, driving it hard early on, perhaps too early, because in the end we'd see Tadej Pogacar often isolated in the yellow jersey, the maillot jaune of race leader. But then at one point, it was crucial with around 99 kilometers to go, 100 kilometers to go. They were drilling on one of the sectors, 14 sectors on the day, totaling 32 kilometers of gravel, 199 kilometers of racing total. And we saw on the side of the road, Jan Tratnik with the bike, and it wasn't his bike because it had race number 1, a defending champion, Jonas Vingegaard, who won in 2022 and 2023. So something must have happened. In fact, Jonas was on race bike number 7. It turned out that Jonas had a puncture, had to get on Tratnik's bike. We never saw the images on camera. Maybe we'll catch them later on social media, but expert work by the team all day. In fact, Visma Lease bike, the team of Jonas Vingegaard, they were the strongest out there today as a team, as a unit. If Tadej Pogacar was the strongest rider, the team, well, that goes to Visma Lease bike because they were doing the work to keep Jonas Vingegaard in contention. On another sector, Tadej Pogacar launches a missile up the road. It took Remco Evenepoel, it took Jonas Vingegaard chasing them down, and eventually Tadej came back, but he wasn't done because he would attack again and again. Remco Evenepoel launching a move at one point in the white jersey of best young rider. That was marked by Vingegaard, that was marked by Pogacar. They went up the road. These 3 top GC riders. Primož Roglic, he was in trouble earlier on in the day. He had to chase back at one point. He got back on. He had help of Vlasov, he had help of Jai Hindley, but at that point he was left behind again when those 3 went up the road. And at one point those 3 caught the escape up front that involved Derek G, but then they sat up. Remco wanted to continue his move, but Jonas and Tadej said no, and they drifted back. So we still had the same escape up the road with those guys resting for a moment. The gravel is difficult out there. Not only did Jonas have a problem, but also Remco Evenepoel. On one of the sectors, it looked like he dropped the chain or his wheel slipped out and he was distanced. He had to chase solo for some time to get back up to that group that still included Pogacar, that still included Vingegaard. He got back up, saved himself on the day. Tadej Pogacar wasn't giving up because it seemed at times Vingegaard was on the ropes. He had to dig deep and rely on the help of his teammates. Matteo Jorgensen was doing so much work for him, dropped back, pulled up Vingegaard to keep him in contention, and eventually he would get back up there. But Tadej would try again and again all the way until the last sector, sector 1, that would leave around 20 kilometers to racing or so. But Tadej put on a show today, as too did Remco Evenepoel. And Vingegaard, perhaps he's still suffering from his crash in the Tour of the Basque Country, but he rode so well, and perhaps he's suffering a bit from riding on another teammate's bike. But that teammate is close to his size, different than the fiasco we saw 2-3 years ago when the Tour de France went over the cobbles of Paris-Roubaix. A heck of a day out there. We saw the battle up at the front, fighting for the stage win. It was Turgis getting the victory. Big for France and big for the team who hadn't won yet in this 2024 Tour de France. And then back behind, well, after all the attacks, everything that happened, a big group finished together. Coming behind the top escape group, we had a second escape group with Mathieu van der Poel, Michael Matthews, But the GC boys came in a big group at 1:46 back. After all that attacking, all that energy, they arrived together, but they gave us a heck of a show out there. In the GC, now as it stands, heading into the first of 2 rest days, is Tadej Pogacar still on top, 33 seconds ahead of Remco, 1 minute and 15 seconds back to our defending champion Jonas Vingegaard, 1:36 back to Roglic, Juan Ayuso, João Almeida, further on, both from Team UAE Emirates, Tadej's teammates. Then we have Carlos Rodriguez, Ineos doing a heck of a ride out there. Mikel Landa, who was the only teammate at times left with Remco Evenepoel out there from Soudal Quickstep, and Derek G jumping up 5th spots, now sitting 9th place overall, and Matteo Jorgensen dropping back 1 spot thanks to Derek G, who moved up 3 spots. He's sitting there at 4 minutes and 3 seconds back. And I agree with the jury's decision when it came in, because we had attacks all day, mechanicals along the way, and a power escape move that included Derek G fighting so hard from kilometer 0. What's not to love with gravel in the Tour de France?